I have one friend who um, has some app on her phone that makes the whole thing black and white to be sort of less appealing. I'm sure you know of a lot of tools people are using like this. Are you have you been sort of behind the scenes of the creation of any of these kinds of things, or what can you tell my listeners about these kind of tools to save your attention?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a conversation about personal habits that we can all adopt, but I think just want to zoom in first on the thing you said a second ago, which is that these parts of ourselves are not going away. Our attraction to salt, sugar, and fat are going to be there for the rest of time. As I remember talking to Sam on his podcast 4 or 5 years ago, saying, imagine you can beam enlightenment down into an ant body, and so the ant like wakes up and its eyes sort of like blow, open up, and it sort of has the knowledge of the universe. It has Einstein's theories of, physics and everything. And it's still trapped in an ant's body. So if those pheromones come along, it's still going to do and want what an ant does and wants, right? And we're, I think, an interesting reflection of that same impulse. We have the primal lower level parts of ourselves. They're not going away. Tribalism is built into who we are. It's a survival mechanism. It's an adaptable mechanism. But you have technology that is weaponizing tribalism and replacing epistemology with, how do we know what we know, with tribalism. And that's been very, very toxic for our information environment. You have technology that's playing with our dopamine variable schedule rewards. That's the slot machine dynamic of, if you pull a lever and sometimes you get a reward and sometimes you don't, and there's actually a time schedule, and the more variable the reward, both in magnitude and in terms of time, like when it comes back, the more addictive it is. That's all part of how the human mind and psyche sort of just fundamentally operate. The best we can do is become aware of it. And in fact, the kind of gift is that we're the only species that, if we were to do something like this, where we created an environment that is entirely maladaptive, we're also the only species with the capacity to literally rip the screen off of our own operating system, point our intelligence back at ourselves and say, oh, there's facts about my own brain that I can sort of choose to make my environment work with those facts about how my brain works. And that's where technology is breaking down now, because your friend who's doing the black and white screen, they're effectively, because they know this knowledge about their brain and the colors, which are chosen by the way, the red is a trigger color. And that's why notifications are red, because they are faster at attracting your attention. I literally have a friend who has a big tech company that people would know. They tried changing their notification color to blue, and it didn't get nearly as many click-throughs as when it was red.
Wow.
And the point is that you're classically just trapped in this game of how the human psyche works. And if they don't do the red notification color and the other apps do the red notification color, then they're going to lose. So again, it becomes this multipolar trap where if I don't do it, the other guy will, which we'll probably get into is the root of so many problems that we're experiencing today, whether it's in food, autonomous weapons, climate change, right? It's just multipolar traps are everywhere. But again, we're the only species that can know this about ourselves. So I think the premise is not that we can get rid of the technology, or we can get rid of our desire for connection or social validation or tribalism. The question is, what is the healthy expression of those things? What is healthy tribalism? What is healthy social validation? What is healthy novelty seeking? And that's, I think, a conversation about what is humane to our own fundamental, weaknesses. So when it comes to tools, I mean, we can certainly talk about that. I'm not really an expert in all the various things, but I will say that the reason that Android phones, which is, probably more than 1 billion phones out there, now automatically late at night shift into grayscale as you flip towards the later hours of the evening, is actually due to some of the advocacy that we've been pushing for many years. And so these digital well-being initiatives that Apple launched on the iPhone, where you have screen time management features, time limits for kids, black and white, reduced notifications, do not disturb. There's been a more rapid building out of those features on both iOS and on Android, in large part, I think, due to people's raising awareness about these things. But again, we have to be really careful about how we define the problem, because if the problem is just the 7 deadly sins are surrounding our psyche at a daily moment, and it's just addiction that's the problem, that's not the same as the way that it is deranging our culture and our understanding of each other, which is really where my primary concerns are right now.